Thanks for taking a chance on me. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com. I'm a blind film critic, and if you like this video and you want to see more of me, just click that subscribe button. And I'm pretty certain that's how you see more of me. At least I get an incessant amount of push notifications from the channels I subscribe to, so I assume you will too. Anyway, let's jump into this. This is the Beanie Bubble. This is on Apple Plus, and it does have audio description, I believe, by Roy Samuelson. I think I recognize that voice. I'm going to go ahead and call it. I'm going to be honest and say it tried to kick me into hijack. When the movie ended, it was like, you need to watch this movie now. Has nothing to do with Beanie, with Beanie Bubble, but damn it, you're gonna watch Idris Elba on a fucking plane. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm not ready for that. Thank you. That's why I haven't watched it yet. So we have had a lot of nostalgic aimed films this year. We've had, films like about behind the scenes stuff, from Tetris to Air and Blackberry. We've had stuff that, if you really think about it, is pretty nostalgic because it comes from your childhood, like the Super Mario Brothers movie and Barbie and the upcoming Ninja Turtles movie. This is a very Beanie year for those. Everybody says that we have like a comic book movie problem. I don't think people are noticing that we're really trying to hit that nostalgia button really hard right now. And the Beanie Bubble is oddly bursting that bubble a little bit. I really enjoyed Air. I mostly enjoyed Tetris. I just had like a couple little problems with it. I haven't seen Blackberry yet, but I've heard good things. And now we have the Beanie Bubble, which is written and directed by the same people, and they're married. So there's really no filtering of ideas. They wrote a script, and they got to direct the script. And if this was, perhaps like Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, who have sort of that body of work to be able to establish themselves and, go into Barbie, although Noah didn't direct Barbie, but he could have. It might have made more sense. It might have turned into something better, but this is their first time doing this, writing and directing, and it feels like it. So this film's also, like, I really wanted to love this. I was really excited about it. Apple's been pushing this for like a month, pretty hard, with trailers all over the place for the Beanie Bubble. And it is actually a theatrical release, so if anybody is like, is this eligible for the Oscars? It is. It's actually playing in a theater nearby. I could have gone and seen this in a theater. It's only playing in one theater nearby, and I live in a major metropolitan area, so that goes to show you about just how concerned Apple was with making sure this got some sort of theatrical release. But anyway, I love the cast. Like, Zach Galifianakis is somebody who gets me in a theater. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he gets my butt in a seat. I'm a big fan of Zach's. I've seen most of his work. There's a couple films in there. I was thinking about doing a top 5 for him. There was a couple things in there. I was like, I didn't see that. I should see that. I feel like I miss at least, 2 or 3 things from everybody, even if I really love the actor. I'm a pretty big fan of Elizabeth Banks. So she may not be in the top of my actresses, but I like her. She's done a lot of things that I've liked. And Sarah Snook's in this, so it's got a couple people I'm familiar with. There's no reason for me to not like this, especially with Zach. But it's not cast well. Zach is actually really miscast as Ty Warner, which is bizarre to say because I would watch him do pretty much about anything. But the way that the film sets up and needs Ty to be sort of this enigmatic, very self-absorbed, almost like a cult leader. he comes across too cuddly, and I know that there's also this angle that they're trying to come across that he's a child who never grew up, which is what Zach does really well. But unfortunately, the film requires these three women who all narrate the film. That's how messy this is. Uh, to believe in the words that he's saying. And I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't actually believe him. He doesn't seem like he's confident enough in his ideas in this film. It didn't feel like he was the right person for this role. I kind of needed somebody with a little bit more smarminess to them, a little bit more cocky confidence, a little bit more James Marsden. Like that kind of confidence. It feels like what they're asking of Ty Warner. Now, it's possible that Zach looks like Ty Warner. I don't know, because I can't see. So I don't know. Maybe he's a dead ringer for Ty Warner. Maybe Ty Warner looks exactly like Zach Galifianakis, and that's why they cast him. And they were thinking more of like along the lines of biopic and, oh, well, he looks like him, so we should cast him. But I don't know. It didn't work for me, which Zach almost makes everything work, and he's trying really hard to make this work. But he's being put into scenes with dialogue that just, I don't know, it just doesn't come across. It doesn't land the way it's supposed to. And the film's kind of a mess, to be honest. It's got the three female protagonists, which is, it would be fine if they knew how to do this correctly, but it's like three women narrating the story, but they're all narrating their own stories and how they intertwine and overlap and weave in and out, and they time jump all the time. This film does way more time traveling than it needs to. Just bouncing around from year to year. I can't believe that this is the best structure to tell this story. I don't know if they were trying to be creative, if they were like, well, we don't want to be like the other films that tell their stories in a linear manner. We're gonna jump all the hell over the place. All right, but it just it makes for weird moments that they think are like the payoff, but they're not really the payoff. I'm not really huge into spoilers, but there's one moment where we think we're in one era, and then somebody opens a door and it's like, oh, suddenly we're in a new era, and that's supposed to be the shocking moment, is like, you think one thing's happening, right, and then but it ends up being something else when somebody opens the door, and it even references, or even like mentioned that it's an older version of the other character behind the door, because we were like in the past and now we're in the present. And I don't know that this format really works. It also puts all three of them on the same level. And what's weird about that is that two of the characters, Ronnie and Sheila, both sleep with Ty. I can't say married to Ty, because Ty Warner, as it reminds us at the end of the film in the post-credits, never married. But two of them have slept with Ty. One of them is not. So as much as I love Maya's narrative and what she contributes to the company, to put her on the same level as two people who were both sort of romantically swindled by Ty, whereas Maya is just sort of fucked over by Ty, it's just it didn't mesh. Like, it's a lot of ideas that just didn't come together, and I wish somebody had sat down. Like, I think there's a good idea in here, and there's a good story, and that's kind of what kept me interested, was in this whole thing, and how this whole, Thai company and the Beanie mania started. There's a lot of that in there that kind of saves the film, if you're just really interested in the concept of what this film is trying to do. But the way that it's told, and the way that it uses Zach, it just kind of turned me off. I wish there was a better way to say that. I didn't even really love Elizabeth Banks in this. To be totally honest, I feel like she just didn't have a connection with Zach. There was nothing in there that made me believe that those two had the kind of relationship that they're supposed to have. The best performance here is Sarah Snook, somehow manages to make a real solid emotional connection with Zach Galifianakis. And there's some moments that they have together, especially because she plays a single mother who has two little girls, and her role sort of is the center anchor of the film. For anybody who is trying to look at which character do I relate to, it's probably going to be Sheila. Her narrative is stronger. I didn't really care about Ronnie's or Maya's as much as I did Sheila's. How he screws them over is all different. All three women get screwed by Ty in very different ways. But what he does to Sheila is actually really kind of gross. It's the one thing that I think Ty really should look back on if he's watching this film and be like, man, I really fucked that up, didn't I? It's like, yeah, you did. You know? Like, damn. If you really did that, that's a shitty thing to do. But I have a feeling that this film may actually make Beanie's worth a little bit more, especially a very specific Beanie. This film points out the fact that there was a very specific Beanie that was made with a very specific tag, and Ty was an asshole, and he switched the tag. So if you have that Beanie with that tag, I have a feeling that if this movie goes anywhere and makes anything more popular, people who realize that they have a Beanie Baby with that specific tag will realize what they actually have. And suddenly one Beanie Baby out there in the world will become worth something. Because everybody is going to be like, yeah, fuck you, Ty Warner. I'm trying not to spoil the story, even though it's a true story, but there are still elements that I just feel like people don't know. So, I mean, like, obviously, yes, the Beanie Bubble bursts. So, not a spoiler. If you're still out there trying to, like, collect Beanie Babies because you're like, these are going to make me a billionaire, maybe that's a spoiler to you, but it's not to the rest of the world. So I'll just hope that one person doesn't watch my YouTube channel. They've been out there. They've got like millions of Beanie Babies. They're like, I can't believe I got these for so cheap. I can't believe it. It's amazing. Their house is full of Beanie Babies. Yeah, so I have Beanie Babies. I don't know where they are, but I still have mine. But I didn't buy them to collect them. I bought them because legitimately I thought they were cute. You know, Ty came up with a cool idea of understuffing Beanie Babies, and that's a good idea. And then the world went nuts. The world just broke. And it kind of shows how they made the world break and some of the smart ideas that they made as a company, which is what makes this film interesting. However, the persistent need to jump through time is mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling that this story felt like it couldn't be linear. You know, why is this story not linear? I have no idea. I have no idea why we needed to jump through time. I think the story, when you build to something, when they talk about a bubble, they talk about a bubble bursting, right? So you're watching a bubble grow and grow and grow and burst. And there's something to be said for that and the tension of waiting for that moment for something to burst. And when you keep hopping around through time and showing different moments, it's not quite like that. It doesn't quite feel like we're making that sort of forward motion for that bubble to burst. So just a lot of things that just didn't quite work for me, but Sarah Snook is great. And honestly, Zach Galifianakis tries in his role. He really does. He's just miscast. I'm not going to say he's bad at acting. I'm just going to say when you realize what the role is requiring him to do, he is doing the other half of it. Like, he's doing this one thing. It's like this role has 5 things, and he's chosen to highlight the one. He doesn't even really feel like he makes an emotional romantic connection with Elizabeth Banks. You know, this isn't a film where it feels like that the two of them, if if they went for the R rating and decided to do a sex scene, this doesn't feel like Zach would be comfortable in any of those scenes. He just feels so distant from certain aspects of his character. But he's really good at making Ty childish and petty. But the other half of it, where he has to convince all these people to follow his every word and his brilliance, it didn't catch on for me. It's a shame. I was really looking forward to this, and I kind of understand why now Apple is burying this in July when they have more higher profile films later on in the year that actually might get some Oscar buzz. It's weird that Tetris, which got really good reviews, opened at the beginning of the year, and they didn't even bother a theatrical on that. That was just Apple. Kind of weird. But the audio description here is fine. There really isn't anything too specific. It just kind of takes place in the 90s with describing things in the 90s. There's not really too much of an effort to make you feel like that you're living in that time period. The most 90s thing that they do is the introduction of the internet and AOL. So it's not like, I didn't feel like there was a huge focus on maybe like the way we dressed in the 90s, or Sheila does have two little girls. Well, they wearing do they do slap bracelets? Anything that was popular during the 90s? Are they like, what are they doing? They just kind of seem to be happy existing in this space without a whole lot of extra frills. Because it's all about Beanie Babies. I mean, if you're doing anything but Beanie Babies in this film, I suppose it's a distraction from the purpose of the film. So, of course, the kids have to just be obsessed with Beanie Babies. So it's mostly a 90s set film. It does go in the 80s a little bit. It doesn't really go further than the Beanie Bubble burst right as the millennium was starting, and so there isn't like a later age shot of Zach Galifianakis as an old man or something, but it pretty much sticks in the 90s. And I don't know, I didn't feel like I was immersed in the 90s, but I don't know if the film was trying to immerse me in the 90s. Like I said, the most 90s thing that it brings up were just a couple things having to do with the internet, and how like it, you hear like America Online, and you're like, oh, cool, that kind of tells me, and they're like they're looking at a chat room, what I mean? Ty keeps thinking that everybody who's on the internet is a Beanie fan because he misunderstands something that's said to him. So it's not that complicated of a film. I don't know. I don't know the thing about being blind is I don't know what I missed, but I feel like this is mostly just talking. They spend a lot of time in the office. They do have some houses that they go to. He is building a mansion. We spend very little time in that mansion, and it is being built. It's being constructed. So I don't know that I missed out on description of the final product, because it's a work in progress. But there is a scene that pivotal scene that takes place there that I felt was well described. So I think the description here is fine because I think it's a simple movie. There isn't really anything about this that makes me go, oh, well, yay. Or I feel maybe I missed that. Maybe I'm missing something here. Nope. No. When it's suggestive of a sex scene, somebody's buttoning their clothes like they're supposed to be. So it does everything it's supposed to do. I'm just really underwhelmed with this film. But it's time to grade it. And at the end of the day, I will say that I enjoyed learning about the Beanie Mania and Ty. And I thought Sarah Snick did a good job. So even though I think there's a lot of things that aren't great about the film, there's a couple things in there that make it sort of okay. So I'm going to let you decide on this one. I'm going to put it in the middle, and I'm going to go Beanie Bubble is a C for me. That's where I'm at. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. And hopefully I'll see you guys for another review. You can follow me on macmovieguy.com. That's my website. You can go to Twitter, Instagram, or Threads and follow me at macmovieguy. You can go to the Audio Description Project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. And you can look up Roy Samuelson and see what else he's narrated, which I hope is his film, because I feel like that's his voice. Having just seen some other films with some other narrators, it sounds like I'm pretty confident in my assumption here. So that's it, and I will watch something else and see you guys on the other side.